Eh, Hello, good afternoon. Today we're going to talk about the Maya civilization. Uh, the geographical location of the Maya civilization, they were located in what today is Mexico, and El Salvador. They treated the region from 2000 before Christ until the arrival of the Spanish in the 16th century. They were organized into city-states and each ruled by a type of king. This structure allowed for a complex political and social organization among the various city-states. They were very well known for their knowledge of astrology and mathematics, and also they developed one of the most sophisticated writing systems in America, which contributed to the advanced culture. Uh, there's like there's like three important periods from the Maya civilization. The Preclassic period spans from around 2000 before Christ to 250 in our current era, and the Mayas began forming agricultural practice and settlements, laying the foundation for complex societies. Also, the other part is from 250 current year to 900 current year. This era marked the height of Maya civilization with city-states advanced writing and monumental architecture. Finally, we have the post-classic period that extend around 900 current era to 1500, where major city-states start declining, with regional centers continuing until the Spanish arrival in the 16th century. So will fail, but there's still some ruins that you will find in the south of Mexico and other parts of the ancient civilization. And also they have a celestial influence on the Maya. The ancient Maya civilization exhibited a remarkable expertise in astronomy, meticulously observing the movements of celestial bodies. This knowledge was pivotal of shaping their culture and daily life, influencing their religious beliefs and political system. Also, they have a huge religious significance, and they associate the movement of planets such as Venus with significant events like wars and royal ascensions. The careful celestial tracking allowed them to align key elements with what they perceive favorable times determined by the gods. Also, the Maya architecture reflects their astronomical knowledge, with temples and observatories constructed to ensure visibility of celestial events. The observatory of Xochicalco exemplified this, designed to capture the sun rays on significant days of the priest. And not only Xochicalco, also Chichen Itza and one of the towers in Tulum, you can ensure like this visibility at certain time of the years. So that's very awesome. The geographic location, they were located in the subcontinental and Central America, primarily in the region that include present-day southeastern Mexico, all of Guatemala and Belize, and the western portion of Honduras and El Salvador. The latitude range of the Maya civilization was approximately from 10 grades north to 20 grades. The topographical features of the Maya region, it's a diverse landscape, including tropical rainforests, mountainous areas, and fertile plains, crucial for their agriculture and practice and urban development. The climate and agriculture in the Maya civilization was a tropical rainforest characterized by high humidity and significant rainfall, essential for agricultural productivity. Essential crops include maize, beans, squash, and chili peppers, which were staples in the Maya diet and cultivated extensively through their regions. The Maya employed advanced agricultural techniques such as terracing to prevent soil erosion and maximize arable land and hilly terrain in touching productivity. Irrigation methods, including canals, were constructed to ensure water supply during dry season, allowing more consistent crop yields and supporting large population. Also, there were some volcanoes back then. So that contributed a lot to the fertilize of the land. So they were in the source section sector because of that. Maya is super cool, and that will be all. Next, please.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Isis. That was wonderful. And so we're going to be talking about the Mayan infrastructure and the construction. Going to be looking up here just because I have it on a bigger screen and it's harder to see down there. So the construction techniques that they had, the Maya civilization utilized abundant limestone for construction of these massive pyramids and the temples that they made and some of their palaces. It was made with carving, which made it easier to do, and they were also a sustainable culture, so they tended to work with stone instead of trees. The artistic expression of the Maya was through the various forms of art, which they did through sculpture, pottery, and murals, which they've been discovering even to this day. They created intricate carvings and painted scenes that depicted religious rituals, daily lives, and mythology. And the economic impact of that was that they used the local resources like flint and obsidian for tools and weapons, which supported the economy, and the availability of having that fertile volcanic soil that Isis was talking about allowed for successful agriculture, which was vital for sustaining this civilization. They had a lot of religion. They were very religious people. They had a lot of practices that were tied to their construction projects. They made those temples, which they, like Isis mentioned, they aligned to be able to line up with the astrological stuff that was going on, like the position of the sun and the moon. And many of the Maya cities and ceremonial centers were built near or on mountain slopes, reflecting the sacredness of those natural features. And then the environmental stress and drought phases. So the Maya civilization faced significant environmental stress due to prolonged droughts, especially between the 800 and 1100 AD. So this is still something that those regions in the Yucatan and Guatemala and the southern Mexico deal with. We have an interesting climate there. It's not unusual for water to start to evaporate because of the heat that we can experience and the type of climate that we're there. So the Yucatan, like I mentioned, experienced severe droughts, which led to challenges in agriculture because you can't have crops without water. Evidence suggests that the Mayan experienced increased hurricane activity around the 900s AD, which compounded the effect of the drought, and the interplay of droughts and hurricanes likely intensified competition for limited resources, further straining the society and contributing to the eventual decline of the Mayan civilization. So going on to some distinctive native plants that we have there, we have maize, which if you don't speak Spanish, that's just corn. So it's a staple food for the Maya, which is still a staple food for us in Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, Mexico, Belize. We use a lot of corn, we use a lot of beans. We do have cacao and chili peppers, so it's interesting to see the exact same things that the Mayans were using there, we're still using to this day. So the beans complemented maize in the Mayan diet, providing essential proteins. Beans are one of the best things that you can eat. Cacao, which if you don't know what that is what chocolate comes from. It was highly valued by the Mayans, and it was used to make ceremonial drinks. It was also a form of currency. And then the chili peppers, if you don't like spicy food, I don't think we can be friends because it is the best. And it added a ton of flavor and spice to all the Mayan dishes. And then some distinct native animals that they had were the deer, the peccary, turkeys, jaguars, and crocodiles, and one that we don't have listed here, which is my personal favorite, is the quetzal, which is the national bird of Guatemala. It's one of the most beautiful birds, in my opinion, and the legend of how it has its red belly is really nice. So deer they were a vital food source for the Maya, providing meat for sustenance. Peccaries, similar to wild pigs, they were also hunted for meat. Turkeys were domesticated by the Mayans. And then the jaguars obviously were revered as powerful symbols in Mayan mythology and culture, same with the crocodiles, and they even had some gods that represented those. So the impact of the Teutonic plate boundaries. This is going to be my last slide before I pass it off. So Teutonic activity overview. The Maya civilization thrived on the North American plate. Its subcontinent in Central America was where they were primarily, but it's part of North America, with the nearest tectonic activity linked to the subsection zone off Mexico's western coast. The earthquake impacts, that region is plagued by earthquakes. If you've ever been down in southern Mexico or in Guatemala, you'll know we have sinkholes, we have earthquakes, we have a ton of movement happening all the time just because of where we are on those teutonic plates. And volcanic activity, we have some of the most beautiful volcanoes in that region. We have one of the only water volcanoes in existence is up there. So we have a lot of volcanic activity for the Mayans because it was in the exact same area. And I'll be passing it off now to Melanie.
Thanks, Neri. So, also in the Mayan civilization, they were influenced by volcanoes, and they played an impact. They had an impact in their civilization. Some of them, just to mention, is the Chichon volcano, which is an stratovolcano in northwest of Chiapas in Mexico, and this one erupted 540 years before. Is that before Christ AD? Because sometimes I get confused with
Año Dominio.
BC. What was that?
Año Dominio. It's the year of it's
interesting. Thank you. So this volcano caused significant disturbance and destruction, and the eruption resulted in the widespread of ash fall, and it really impacted the communities in the Mayan civilization. Another example is the Tacana volcano. This one is located between Mexico and Guatemala, and it's a stratovolcano that has erupted for multiple times. The most recent was in 1986, and its eruption potentially affected agricultural practices in the region. Another example is the Alopango volcano. This is a caldera volcano in El Salvador that erupted 431 years. And I don't know what CE means.
Common Era, which is another way of saying AD.
Oh my gosh.
Current time. Yeah.
Thank you, Neri.
Yep.
So the eruption of this volcano led to a massive ashfall and climate change at that time, and it was classified as a BEA 6, which is kind of huge eruption, and it impacted the agricultural Mayan as well. Next one. And they also had a lot of mountain ranges. We're gonna just mention like the most commons, like the most common that I heard as the Sierra Madre de Chiapas, which runs along the Pacific coast of the southern Mexico and Guatemala. It is mainly composed of sedimentary rocks, playing a key role in shaping the region's weather patterns and agriculture. We have the Maya Mountains, which are located in Belize and Guatemala. They are mainly made of metamorphic rocks like sheets, gneiss, I don't know how to pronounce that, influential local climate and agriculture due to their elevation. We have another mountain in Sierra de los Cuchumatanes, the highest non-volcanic mountain range in Central America, rises to 3,837 meters and affect local ecosystems, providing cooler climates suitable for specific crops. So these mountain ranges serve as natural defense for the Maya city. Limited cultural change due to the rock terrain, and held cultural significance as the Maya view mountains as a sacred, and they built cities near or their slopes. Next one. Weather mass, that one. Mass wasting and erosion. So the process of weathering, they really didn't experience significant chemical weathering. They experience, like carbonation due to calcareous composition of many buildings and monuments. This weathering process gradually deteriorated stone structures, impacting their durability. The most common events that happened during the Mayan civilization was landslides, often triggered by heavy rains. There was a significant issue in the mountainous region of the southern Maya territory. For instance, the city of Copan in Honduras suffered from landslides that impacted both buildings and roads, limiting access and development. The weathering and mass wasting led to soil erosion, which severely affected agriculture. As the land became less stable, the food supplies was threatened, and there was a negative impact on the economy and the life of the Maya civilization. So I'm gonna pass the presentation to Andres.
So the rivers and deltas.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of, like, some examples of rivers and deltas in the Mayan civilization near to Guatemala and Mexico was the Usumachi River. The Usumachi River sources from highlands in Guatemala and Chiapas, Mexico. It's one of the largest rivers in Central America, and it's actually pretty, and like it's amazing to see that. Its torrential flow facilitates the trade of communication between the Maya cities and the Palenques in Yaxchilan. So they provide fertile floodplains and essential for agriculture. So as we know, like having water near to the civilization towns, there's really essential to these civilizations to grow and have more accessible things and having more resources. One other one is the Hondo River. The Hondo River is originating from northern Belize in Guatemala, acting as a natural boundary and trade routes. Its more potential flows support agriculture and provide access to marine resources, like in various Maya centers. Other one is the Motagua River that is flowing from the highlands of Guatemala. The Motagua River provides significant water discharge and fertile soils for agriculture. It serves as a transportation route and influenced settlements and patterns among Maya communities. Another one is the Passion River. The Passion River source from Guatemala highlands is another important river with high potential discharge. It serves as a transportation route, offering a source water and fertile soils for settlements, alternate sacrificios, and cebas. So we know water and rivers are an essential resource for this civilization. Nowadays too, water is the most important resource right now. The trade routes and oceans are overland the rivers, and as I say in the previous slide, they were using to they were routes, and they facilitate the exchange of economics between those civilizations. The Mayan civilization utilized extensive trade networks connecting cities, states through overland routes and rivers. Rivers like Usumachi and the Motagua serve as a vital transportation arteries facilitating trades of goods such as salt, pottery, and textiles. Also, the Hondo River acted as a natural boundary and trade route, like in the Mayan centers is in Belize and northern Guatemala. So the influence of the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean Ocean. This is a big entry of trade and economics in this civilization. So the Gulf of Mexico and Caribbean Sea provide a lot of natural pathways for maritime trades, connecting Mayan to the other Mesoamerican cultures. So this is a big gate of trades. The coastal lines allow easy access for sailing vessels and exchanging trades with the regional across the Gulf and the Caribbean. The water supplies marine resources that contribute to the diet and economy of the coastal Mayan communities. So as we know, the severe weather and climate change in these regions have an impact in the civilization. So the impact of the droughts and hurricanes. The droughts were a major challenge for the Mayan civilization, especially between the 800s and 1100 AD, leading to decreased rainfall and agricultural decline. The evidence of lake beds and caves indicate the periods of drought coincided with decline of the major Mayan cities. The hurricane activity increased around the 900 AD, which likely stressed an already strained society and damaged the infrastructure of the civilization. Cyclones struck during these periods, leading to coastal flooding and crop failures, contributing to environmental stress Now we're gonna see the impact of the climate change and the civilization decline. The Mayan civilization decline have heavily relied on seasonal rains for agriculture, for longest through the devastated their water supply. Studies show that the significant dry periods are around the 820 and the 870s. See, leading to food shortages and social unrest. The collapse of the Mayan Empire linking increased the hurricane frequency and severe droughts that affect the infrastructure. Research indicates that the area began with getting drier around the 640 CE, worsening around the 1020 CE.
Thanks, Andres.
Welcome.
Then just finishing off here with the environmental stewardship. So they were about agroforestry practices, kind of like I mentioned earlier. They believed in making sure that the trees and the crops and everything were provided with enough nutrients, which is why they focused more on making their buildings out of stone instead of doing it out of trees and lumber like other civilizations. The cultural reverence for nature, the religion emphasized sacredness of natural elements, including mountains, caves, cenotes, and celestial bodies. They believed that gods and spirits inhabited these natural features, which played a central role in their cosmology and rituals. So they believed that nature was sacred and it was their responsibility to protect it. They also developed sophisticated water management systems, including reservoirs, cisterns, and aqueducts. And these systems ensured a reliable water source throughout the year, crucial for sustaining their agriculture and communities. And the integration of environmental stewardship practices allowed the Mayan to thrive in challenging environments that we've talked about. And the last thing here of just the summary of geographic impacts. So it's probably hard to see, it's kind of small, but the local geography significantly influenced the development of the Mayan civilization in various ways. The fertile volcano soil in regions like Guatemala and the Yucatan Peninsula facilitated the cultivation of essential crops such as maize, beans, squash, and chili peppers. Additionally, the Maya built terraces on the hillsides to prevent soil erosion and constructed canals for irrigation during dry seasons. The presence of major rivers, including the Usumacintan and Motogo, provided fertile floodplains for agriculture and survived as vital trade routes, enhancing communication between the city-states. Mountain ranges such as the Maya Mountains and the Sierra Madre de Chiapas influenced climate patterns, affected agricultural practices, and offered natural defenses. The Maya also faced challenges from natural disasters. As we noted earlier, they had a lot of earthquakes, they had a lot of hurricanes and landslides. And overall, the interplay of geography shaped the social, economic, and cultural aspects of the Maya civilization, underscoring the reliance on environmental conditions for their survival and prosperity. I think we mentioned it earlier as well, but just because the Maya civilization as a country doesn't exist anymore, there are still thousands of Maya people in Guatemala, in Belize, and in southern Mexico, and they were one of the most impactful civilizations on this earth. They're one of the only civilizations besides the Arabs to come up with a mathematical system that actually works, which is what they were able to do with all their astrology, why they're able to make such beautiful calendars and predict so many things, is because of how intelligent that they were. And I think that's something that we all need to appreciate. And I hope all of you guys learned something about the Maya culture through this, so that this was more of a lens on the geography and natural sciences of it. But this was our presentation. This was by me, Neri Gonzalez, Isis, Andres, and Melanie. And we're so happy that you guys were able to see us. And saying goodbye.
Thank you.